Hi, hello.
Yes.
Is this Mike?
This is Mike. How you doing?
Hey, Mike. This
Is
call is
this
gonna be
Tommy?
Yeah, it's gonna be recorded and potentially uploaded. This is Tommy Bryson. How can I help?
Hey, brother. Man, I've been watching some of your YouTube videos
Thank you.
lately, and the thing that I want to ask is so you are accountant or you are a CPA?
I'm an accountant.
Okay, and if I'm looking for an accountant
Okay, why?
if you're taking on customers too.
Well, I'm basically like a full-time YouTuber, and I figured out that basically the best way to use my skills and to kind of help more people is to do it
Mm-hmm.
this way. However, though,
Yeah.
I can provide you with some referrals to some accountants that I've actually worked with. So, for example, you have, I know you're from Florida, you have Wise Accountant Tax over there. She's also in Florida. You also have
Mm-hmm.
1-800 Accountant, which is also like a platform for small businesses. And then you also have, for example, QuickBooks that has, for example, their own dedicated accountants now working for them. So those might be, for example, great possibilities for you also. However, though, I do want to ask you, like, what's your business about? What's your idea? Why do you want an accountant and all that other stuff? So you mind getting into that?
No, no, that's fine. So here's the thing. So I started a business last year. I want to get into investments, right?
Okay.
Where it get into more like in real estate investment. My plan is to start with like residential and then eventually move up to like commercial. But
Okay.
based on where I stand and the amount of money that I have, I
Mm-hmm.
believe that I need to start with smaller investments so I can build my capital in order to get
How old are you,
into the
Mike?
real estate. I'm 36.
Okay, 36 years old. And how much money
hmm
do you have?
For the investment part, right now I just set aside 10,000.
Okay, $10,000. And what
Yeah,
made you like want to get into
which I'm
that?
told. Well, see, my mom since I was young, she buys and flips properties.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had an interest with that when since I was younger. But the thing is, I never. Her big thing to me was to get saving and get a good capital. My
Mm-hmm.
dad is in real estate and my mom's a title agent here in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So based on my understanding in watching different videos on YouTube, listening to the Robert Kiyosaki, listening to Dave Ramsey, and all these different YouTubers is um, the stocks is good, but I more so see stock as a way to build your capital so you can buy something more
Interesting.
tangible like that real estate. That's kind of how I view it. Um, so
Okay.
that's why I'm like let me do real estate, and then I think multifamily is better because with the single family, is just why one. I don't know if this is your words too or another influencer. Is that when you buy a single real estate property, when that tenant leaves, then that property is just taking money from you until you can get another guest. But when you have a multi family complex, let's say like a fourplex,
Mm-hmm.
you can get all four persons rented. One might leave, but you will always have like somebody in there, so you're still making money on that
Yeah, but
property.
but
Yeah.
it's also like a higher expense. Now, before we get into all that, right? I do want to ask something. I interrupted you when you were going to say that you have $10,000, but you've been told what about that money? That it's not
That
enough. That it's enough.
it's not enough. That I need to save more.
Okay, that you need to save more. Now, here's the
hmm
thing, right? And just let me know if I'm right here. It sounds like my name is Mike. I'm 36 years old. My parents were into real estate, and I want to get into real estate. The stocks are cool, but I rather, for example, use stocks to build up my capital to then go ahead and transfer into real estate because I'm really into just building tangible things. That sounds correct?
That's correct.
All right. So the first thing is, right, when you're flipping properties, it's kind of like a full-time job. Nothing about it is going to be passive. The second thing is when you're investing, for example, in the stock market and you're trying to use the stock market money to basically put it into, for example, into real estate, if you become a very good investor, like Warren Buffett or like Charlie Munger, you'll probably realize that stocks are going to give you a better return on your investment than real estate is, although real estate is tangible. Because, for example, in the stocks, Warren was able to make between 15 to 20% on average every single year, versus you might make a cap rate on a property of maybe like 8 to 12% or 16% and be pretty happy about it, right? But the big thing with real estate is, the big selling point is that, well, if I have stocks on me, I'm only able to invest that. Maybe I can basically get a margin account here and there. But when I have real estate, if I have $100,000, that's 20% down on 5 properties that are worth $100,000 each. It's the leverage of real estate that becomes very attractive to a lot of people, right? Now, me personally, what I follow is a 4-step system to financial freedom. And that's not important, but the reason I do it is the most important. So the why is the most important. I believe that basically once you have like personal financial freedom and you have that already, then you can use your income to then basically push you forward into building more and more passive wealth. Now, what I mean is basically, I personally wouldn't be looking to like buy a lot of investment properties or do all this stuff. Maybe, do you have any debt right now?
The only debt that I have right now is the mortgage on my home.
Okay, so what's your income?
My income varies, so I would say about let's just say on a good, like if I work some overtime, a good
No,
day.
don't give me the good one. Give me the bad one.
Okay.
Per month. Like how much do you make?
So per month, as I say, it varies. So you're looking at about 3,000 a month.
$3,000 a month. And what do you do for work?
Yeah, I'm a firefighter.
Thank you for your service. Now,
It's my pleasure.
what debt? Okay, how much money do you? So you don't have any student loan debt. You don't have any credit card debt, any personal loan debt, any car loans. You just have a mortgage, and that's it.
Well, what I did was about a year and a half too. I kind of cheated it a little bit because I had credit card debts, and I refinanced on my home, and then I kind of consolidated everything into one. And even with that, I also took out some money in order to do some investments. So because of that, I have no credit card debt.
So you just move your debt from one place to somewhere else, basically.
Basically, I consolidated all into my mortgage. Yes.
Okay. So how much is your mortgage?
Per month, or how much total?
How much do you owe?
I owe, I think I'd have to check, because I think it's at 125 now. But I'd have to check to get the number.
And how much is the property worth?
The property, based on what I see being sold around here, between 160 and 200, because but the thing is, the ones that are selling like for 210 or 200, they have upgrades. Mine is very basic, so more closer to 160, 190.
Okay, so you would say that you have, for example, like $35,000 in there of equity?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, here is what I would do if I were like gonna follow this plan, right? First, you have a pretty good income of $3,000 per month, which is awesome. If that's like the low end of your income, that's awesome. And by the way, that's just from the firefighting gig?
Yeah, that's just from firefighting. Yeah.
Okay, and that's like a 9 to 5?
No. We work 24 hours on, 48 off.
24 hours on and then 48 off?
Yeah.
So you work one day yes and then 2 days no?
Right. So like
okay.
I work tomorrow. Tomorrow's what? Friday. I work Friday. I'm off Saturday, Sunday. I work Monday, off Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on and so forth. Okay.
What do you do during the off days?
Well, that's the thing. I'm trying to start my YouTube channel. I joined another business, or I'm trying to start another business because I'm trying to get into videography and photography. and I found someone that is good in it. I'm starting out, so I'm a beginner, so I'm not really that good, but they're really good at it. And so that person wants to do a partnership, and then
What's the
as
partnership?
I said, in the videography and the photography.
Okay, what does it entail? Like, are you paying him, or are you guys like doing something together and then get into business? What are you guys doing?
The way that it's looking is I'll be more like the financial part of it and like the my skill as well. But because my skill is not on par with him, so
No,
yeah. You said
no,
no?
yeah,
Don't do
sounds
it?
weird. Yeah, sounds weird. It sounds like
Yeah.
you're gonna be like my bank, and then I'm just because I have a few skills here and there. You're gonna take all the
Mhm.
risks. And like,
Yeah.
what aspect of you doing videography? Like, what does he want you to fund exactly? Like, where is your money going to go? Like, what videography are you guys actually doing? Are you guys like doing like real estate? Were you taking like videos of properties, or are you doing like movies and things like that? Like, what are you doing?
Well, it's the plan is basically to start basic. So, like short clips, commercials, church, because my dad has a church, so he's going to be doing the editing for the video and the editing for my dad's church.
And then you have to
So
pay him, or does your dad's church have to
no,
pay you
no,
guys?
no. My dad's church would have to pay him for the editing portion of it.
Him or you guys?
Whenever him. But if he used my equipment, then he pays for the
Doesn't make
use of
sense,
the.
because what
Does
you
it make
have
sense?
is a clientele, right? If I bring you a
Right.
clientele, I should be getting paid some money for the clientele. Although I'm not doing the physical labor, I'm bringing you a client, which is my dad's church. And right now, during the whole pandemic thing, a lot of people are just doing, for example, online church meetings and all that stuff. So it's not just
Yeah.
based on you do all the editing and then thus you get paid all the money, but it's also based on I got this client. So it sounds like it sounds like a partnership where he gets no risk and then you get basically all the risk, plus you don't get paid money when you don't do anything, but you still get the
Right.
clients. It just sounds
Right.
weird to me.
Yeah. The thing is, he met my dad before, and they had that arrangement before me.
Okay. Okay. So then
Yeah. Yeah.
so so then one thing should be asked, right? Um,
Mhm.
and I'm not trying to break off anything here, but the question is,
No. 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 I'm taking your advice. I'm listening to you.
yeah, but the thing is, for example, if we're gonna have a partnership, the big thing is, so I'm guessing, why have a partnership with this guy? Why not just have your own business, and then when he wants to use your equipment, you already have equipment, by the way, or are you gonna buy equipment?
I have equipment already because I did start my YouTube page. It's not, I shouldn't downplay it, but I'm still a novice. So
Mm-hmm.
I have a studio set up already. I have my camera gear, and I have everything. So I did I think 2 or 3 videos already. So I
Mm-hmm.
have lighting. I have a monitor. I use I don't have a film camera. I use a Sony A7 III to shoot. I have my
Mm-hmm.
different lens. So I've been accumulating these for the last like
Okay, so then
three
my
years.
advice would just be, for example, if he needs your equipment, you just rent it out to him,
Mhm.
and make sure you have like an insurance policy on your equipment in case he breaks anything. That way, you get paid for
Okay.
when you're not utilizing your equipment. Now, a big thing
Mhm.
is you need to have single focus. Almost is very important for entrepreneurs. So if you have a job that's bringing in the butter, which is, for example, the whole firefighter thing, which by the way we appreciate, but then you have like 2 days where you're not working. Are you going to be doing YouTube? Are you going to be doing this photography business? Or are you going to be doing, for example, real estate? There's too many directions going on here. And a man that doesn't have something
Yeah, and
specific, that's just going to mess you up. So my advice would be this: pick one thing and focus on that for 18 months. Now, some businesses, they kind of like pivot off of each other. So if you have like YouTube, but then you also have the equipment, it's fine if you rent that out because you don't want to leave money on the table when you're not making content. That's fine. But if you have the YouTube you're trying to build, but you're also trying to like find properties and you're also trying to do like videography gigs and stuff like that, you're doing too much. Does that make sense?
yeah, that does make sense. Because
Okay.
what I was thinking to do is just to focus on the YouTube, because they say, and I think you've mentioned it too. When you're doing YouTube, you have to remain consistent. So
Yeah.
So doing that, and what you said makes sense for him to rent out the gear,
Yeah.
and use it. And then if I do shoot with him, this is as a question, but I'm making it as a statement too. If I do shoot with him, then I get paid for my skills.
A percentage of not just skills, but it's also your equipment. You get a percentage of whatever the gig. So if we're gonna go shoot for your dad with my equipment and everything, I should get paid something also, and then you get paid for also editing. It's just services, right? Now, here's my system here, because you came here asking me, Tommy, about real estate, starting an LLC, and all these things. To rent out equipment, if you want to make an LLC for that, that's fine. But you can also, because you don't have a big clientele, you're doing it with one person, or for example, you might just do it, for example, you rent your equipment out online. I don't recommend that because now you're doing like longer periods of things and you still need your equipment. The answer is you could just be doing a DBA, like just doing business as. The big liability is if you're going to be getting sued, or for example, something crazy happens, you need protection. I'm pretty sure you probably won't, most likely. But if you do feel like you might, get an LLC is going to be fine. Now, the system that I would follow is basically, here's what I've captured here. I know that Mike once went into debt, and the way he got out of debt was for transferring debt from one place to another place, right? You got lucky that way. That's fine. I don't want you to go through that again. So the first thing is I would make a bare bone budget. We call it a triple B budget. Meaning, for example, a budget just takes care of the necessities, for right now at least, right? It means you have shelter, utilities, groceries, and transportation. Shelter should not be more than 33% of your income, your monthly income. The lower the better, obviously. Then you have utilities. Utilities are, for example, your phone plan, but not having an iPhone and paying for it. Your gas, electricity, and your internet bill, but not the fancy things either. Then groceries should not be more than $200 per person. It does not include, for example, you going out to eat all the time. That's not what we're doing here. And then lastly, transportation. It doesn't include, for example, a leased vehicle or getting this massive payment. And by the way, right now, how do you transport yourself? You have like a car?
I have a truck.
You have a truck. It's paid off?
Truck. Yes. I bought it secondhand.
Okay, congratulations. So that means your only payments are basically maintenance and insurance. So those like your four main things. Everything else outside of that is just going to be a want. So you make that budget. Now you know your income, how much you actually need to spend. Whatever money is left over, that's going to be the money you actually have to actually start creating wealth. So the steps you take are going to be, first step is save $1,000 in case anything goes wrong, right? It's called Murphy's Law. When something goes wrong, it can keep happening and happening and happening. You know what I mean? So you save $1,000 in case anything goes wrong, and then you start paying off your debt. Everything except the mortgage. In this case, congratulations, you have no debt except the mortgage. So you move on to the second step. That's going to be you create and fund a full-blown emergency account with 3 to 6 months worth of emergencies. On top of that, you save an additional, for example, 2 sinking funds, one for your car, another one for your home. Your home is going to need maintenance. The AC unit might go out, the roof might start leaking, something crazy might happen. So save around like 1 to 2 to 4% of the property value on the side in a different account, because a sinking fund, an emergency account, the big difference is basically sinking fund is for the knowns, an emergency account is for the unknowns. We know your car is going to break down eventually. We know your house is going to have a problem eventually, but we don't know when you're going to lose a job or when you lose your income. So that's why we have the emergency account separate for that. So for the car, I might save $1,000 to $2,000. For the home, you might save 1 to 2 to 3% of the property value. So in this case, you're looking at, hey, my home is worth $106,000. Let me save 2% of that, which is somewhere around like $3,200. That way, I have that money there in case anything starts leaking or smelling funny, right? Once you're done with that part, it's going to take you a while, obviously, because you're building up these things. Once you're done with that, it might take you between 3 to 6 months to actually build up these accounts, maybe a little longer. But this way you have security. Money should grant you some form of security. That's why you have it. Third step is the real financial freedom step. It means you start investing and you also start paying off your mortgage early. Now, this is a big thing, right? If you're a firefighter, right, and you have a good income, and you also have a lot of availability, which is amazing, but you're also risking your life, which is very dangerous, right? The big thing is, imagine your life, picture your life where you have a large amount of money in your retirement accounts, you have no mortgage, and you also have security. And now you want to start investing into real estate. It's very different from your current situation, because now when you start to operate from real estate, you're operating basically from a place of comfort, a place of stability, because you have no debt, your mortgage is paid off, so your expenses are very low. You have an emergency fund, so if you lose your job, you're gonna be just fine. And you also have a large amount of money in investments, so you know basically that you're gonna be okay also for the future. Okay, does that make sense? So what you want to do is you invest 10 to 20% into your retirement accounts. That means your 401k if you have one of those, or your Roth 401k. And then you get the match at the company where you work for, if they actually offer that, you as a firefighter. If they offer that, get the max match. The rest of the money that's left over, you put it into the Roth IRA. So if you get paid $3,000, 10% of that is $300, right? You split $300. I'm gonna get the max match over at my 401k. The rest of the money that's not gonna be matched, I'm gonna put it into my Roth IRA. What do you invest into? You invest into index funds. If you want to copy my portfolio exactly how it is, in all of my videos, I have a link to M1 Finance. You click that link, it shows you exactly what I invest into. If you want to open up a portfolio directly with M1 Finance and invest into your Roth IRA, you can if you want to. But it's all up to you. It's not about picking favorites here. Once you're investing that money automatically, great, taken care of. Now, the rest of your money, you can put it towards your mortgage. Now, this is counterintuitive because what you've been learning so far is Robert Kiyosaki, Grant Cardone, and all these other guys on YouTube, right? But by you eliminating this mortgage, by throwing extra money towards it, you're going to basically start operating from a place of comfort, because once you have no mortgage, your expenses are going to be very low. Again, you're 36 years old. And since you are working one day and then 2 days no, you can dedicate one of those days towards YouTube. You make 2-3 videos, right? You're uploading 2 videos a week or whatever. The other day, dedicate it fully to another job. So that way, if you work 1 day yes, 2 day no, 1 day yes, 2 day, you work like 3 times a week, right?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, so 3 times a week, you have 4 days left. You dedicate, for example, 2 of those days to YouTube to make more content. You have 2 other days where you're trying to make money. So that's another $200 that you're actually making. Maybe potentially it's not a whole day towards YouTube either. You can just dedicate a few hours towards YouTube while you're building that up on the side, and you're just working to make more money. All that extra money goes towards that mortgage. Once you're fully done with that mortgage, well, it took a while, but you've also been investing at the same time into your retirement. So in a few years, you have a large amount of money in your retirement account, but you also have no mortgage. Does that make sense?
Right, because I'm basically attacking it to reduce it a lot faster.
Exactly.
Because I thought about doing that as well, but you know, I've been spoken against it. They're like, because my mortgage rate is like 3.5. They're like, where would you get a rate like that if you borrow from somebody?
Well,
so,
what happens the thing with a mortgage is, right? It's not that simple. Right? What you don't want to do is just focus on your mortgage and not invest, because if you invest the way I invest, you might make, for example, let's say 10, 12% on that money you're actually investing, right? Over that 5-10 year period where you're paying off this mortgage as fast as possible. But the point is, when you have a mortgage, you have these people that talk about, well, you know, it's such a low rate, but they go their entire lives with this massive payment. And on top of that, they're also not wealthy themselves. And one of the biggest things towards wealth building is going to be owning your own home, because how much do you pay per month in your mortgage right now?
$1,110, and I think, and some change.
Yeah. So that's $13,000 a year. Now imagine once a mortgage is fully paid off, what can you do with $13,000 a year? You can do whatever you actually want to do. It's faster to buy your first property that you want to be investing in, but this way you take care. You know, like when you're in an airplane you're a guy that knows about emergencies and stuff like that. When you're in an airplane,
Mm-hmm.
what do they tell you? Put your mask on your face first before you put it on somewhere else, right? So it means the same thing
Right.
here. You take care of yourself first, your financial freedom first, right? And then you go
Mm-hmm.
towards trying to build wealth, because you have two scenarios here, right? You follow this plan, it takes you a little longer, you're done with this mortgage, you have a large investment account, or you have option two, where you stick with your mortgage, you use that $10,000, you buy another property, you have this tenant here, you buy another one, you have another tenant here, you buy another one, you buy another one, and before you know it, 5 years from now, you might have 5 properties, you might have $700,000 in debt, you might be making, for example, 8% cash and cash return on this property, you might be feeling pretty good, but then if you have an emergency or something breaks down this property, you won't have the money. So you're gonna constantly be running that risk. Does that make sense? If you have vacancies, you're
Yeah.
gonna be scared. If you buy, for example, oh Tommy, I'm gonna buy a 4 family property, whatever it is, right? Yeah, that's true. But now
Mm-hmm.
you're getting into even more debt, because the property is obviously gonna be more expensive in your area. And when you have a vacancy, it is still going to be a problem, because you're still gonna see that vacancy, you're still gonna feel that vacancy. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So that's the thing. I will always have that in the back of my mind.
Yeah. So
So it's
that's
best to just eliminate it.
Yeah, so that's why I prefer, that's what I'm doing too, because I wouldn't tell you to do something that I'm not doing personally. So that's why me personally, I take care of myself first. Once I'm taken care
Okay.
of, I have no debt. I have a massive amount of money in my investment account. If I want to start investing money into real estate, here's how I would do it. Me personally, again, this is also a very unpopular way to actually go about it. The answer is, the first property I buy, I'll put down between 10 to 20% on it. And then I would use that the rent basically, plus my extra income to basically pay off that property first. Once that's paid off, move on to the next one. I use that tenant's money to pay off the other property, plus the other tenant's money to pay it off also, plus my money, and I pay it off even faster and faster and faster and faster. The problem with this method is that it takes longer, and everyone is in a rush. But then the big question is, Mike, if you have no personal mortgage and your expenses are very low, if you're
Right.
making $2,000 to $3,000 per month passively, how much money do you actually need? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So yeah, because you're basically keeping your footprint small.
Exactly.
Therefore, you're capable to do a lot more, because
Exactly.
because I have no debt, no expenses. The first property that I purchased, I would pay that off a lot sooner
Exactly.
than holding on to the debt. And
Exactly.
then once that's paid off a lot sooner, buying the second property, I'm gonna have
Becomes a
the
lot more
rent from the
easier.
yeah from the paid off property and the new property in order to pay that one off sooner if I choose to. Well,
Exactly.
yeah, and just keep on compounding on it.
Exactly. And not just that, right? Just for some context here, before we get off this call, because I have another call coming in. Um, if you think about this, right? If you're making $3,000 a month and you're going to say, Tommy, I'm going to invest 20%, right? Consistently.
Hmm.
That is $600 a month. Multiplied by 12, that's around $7,200, right? Annually, you're going to be
Hmm.
investing. Let's say you start off with $0. Years to grow. Let's say you're going to do this over a 15-year period. So you're paying off your property, you're buying more properties. You never stop investing into your retirement. That's the cool thing here. And you're making, for example, 12%. It means by the time those 15 years are done, you've made, for example, another $300,000 you actually have on the side in your investment account. That's also passive income that's going to be coming to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So yeah, more passive income and
Mm-hmm.
more growth as well
Mm-hmm. And the cool thing
for
is,
my financial status.
yeah, exactly. And the cool thing is, Mike, right? Because you already
Hmm.
have $10,000 today, once you
Yeah.
settle on that bare bone budget, right? What you actually need, you can say, well, if I just need $1,500 or $2,000, well, let me save up that 3 months right now. Take the rest of the money, you put it into the sinking fund. Now, step one, step two are fully done. You're on step three now. Most people are not even on step one yet. So now you're fully step three. What are you doing? You're automating your investments for your retirement accounts, and then you're also paying this debt off. Meaning, if you're throwing an extra 20% or 25% or 30% towards just debt, your mortgage, you'll be done a lot faster. But if you get fired, if something happens to you, you know, hey, I have an emergency account. I'm going to be just fine. And, you know, potentially
Right.
while all this is working out, let's say YouTube works out for you. And by the way, be very aware that YouTube may never work out for you. Okay?
Right.
That's one of the risks that comes with that career. So be very aware with that. Do something that you pick something that you actually love to talk about, something you enjoy, and create, for example, a full-blown marketing plan behind it. Some two great books I'm going to leave you with are going to be
Go ahead.
1,000 Superfans by Pat Flynn. And
1,000 Super Friends?
No, Superfans. 1,000
Superfans.
Superfans by Pat Flynn. And then Will It Fly, also by Pat Flynn. Okay?
Okay. Flynn. Okay. Well, I really appreciate your time.
You, brother.
And these steps that you highlighted, are they on your Patreon group or are they on your page that I can go and I'm looking into them a little bit more?
They're on the YouTube channel. If you want to join the Patreon, feel free to do so. And you can just schedule another call with me. We can go through them together. But the core idea is, if you look, for example, financial freedom, Tommy Bryson, you should see a video with those steps being broken down also. Okay?
Okay, I'll look it up. But thank you for all that you do, man. And I'll look up those accountants as well and see if I can get them. Because I'm looking for an accountant where I can be, I'm able to call in certain questions and they can answer it. My current accountant, like, I don't have that freedom. I'm understanding that accountants are busy, but I don't have that freedom to ask questions.
In Florida, the lady that I told you about, it's called Wise Tax Accountant. Her logo is like an owl, so that's Wise as in W-I-S-E. Her name is Sasha Wise. She's always available to take calls. You schedule a call with her. She'll give you a call. You can talk for 25, 30 minutes with her. So she'll be able to help you with that, okay? All right, Mike.
Sasha Wise.
Yeah, Sasha Wise. Mike, again, thank you for the call, and welcome to the long-term team, okay?
Thank you very much. You'll be safe, all right?
All right, brother. Peace out.
All right. Blessings.
All right, guys. So that right there was actually Mike, and what a call, you know. And I've never been so calm with someone because it's just like the steps just flow out these days, you know. And it's really that simple. When sometimes you want to do so much that you get just paralyzed and you just don't know what you're doing. You spend 3 years just buying equipment, thinking that's going to solve everything. But in reality, it's all about storytelling, right? And being focused and active on what you actually want to accomplish. And you might say, Tommy, well, you have this money for 3%. Why go ahead and basically pay off your mortgage with that? Don't do that. Just invest the money, make more money. But you're constantly going to be in this rat race where, yes, I'm buying this property here, but eventually you just have a bunch of debt all over the place, a bunch of more responsibilities, and you never really have any stable ground. Does that make sense? Does not make sense for me. Okay, guys, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. If you want to join me on these calls, feel free to do so. These calls are free from Monday to Friday to 12 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. Click the link down below and schedule your free call today. And that way I can talk to you also and help you with whatever plan you're trying to make. Thanks for watching. If you like this video right here, well, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. If you want to text me or DM me right here at Tommy Bryson. If you want to join the Patreon and text me directly, well, link down below to the Patreon also. Thanks for watching. Another video right here. Click my face right here. And as always, peace.